and welcome to round 7 of the 2013 GT Cup Championship. Built into the natural contours of the Cheshire countryside, we're at a circuit with the most stunning scenery and picturesque landscape. Celebrating its 60th anniversary in 2013, it still remains popular with drivers and fans alike. Welcome to Oulton Park.
Seamus Jennings.
Peter Jennings.
My name is Barry Horn. I'm Dextra Racing's team manager.
Seamus, I know you've just had qualifying. You're second and third in your class. Just tell us, how was it out there? I mean, the temperature's got to be quite excruciating.
It's excruciatingly warm, absolutely. It's the closest thing I can really say it's like is a sauna, where the door's locked and you can't get out when somebody's turning the thermostat up. So there's nearly a sense of panic. Having said that, we've got a little air conditioning system, so we can stick it for 25 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
There was a bit of traffic out there as well, wasn't there?
There was a bit of traffic, but that's to be expected. Most of the drivers, in fact all of them, are very, very good drivers, very considerate, so we were able to pick our way through, and when a quicker car comes behind you, you let him through, and vice versa, so it works very, very well.
Peter, we're just chatting to your dad there about the qualifying, second and third in your class. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, very good, excellent. But we came here, today's our first day racing on the circuit, and we came for a test day last week and found it incredibly challenging, actually very, very difficult circuit to learn. So to come here today and qualify in class positions second and third respectively was, I think, a really good achievement actually. Yeah, we're very happy with that.
So why is it a difficult circuit to learn from your perspective?
It's every corner's blind. You can't go into a corner knowing what's on the other side. It's a very classic circuit. I believe it's been here 100 years. I'm not too sure myself, but it's very bumpy, very blind, very quick. It takes a lot of guts to go quick around here, I'll tell you that. So the guys who are sitting up higher up the grid, I'm telling you, they must be very brave lads, yeah.
Barry, just tell us what your role is within the team and what it involves throughout a race weekend.
My role within the team is team manager, so I look after the organisation of the team before an event and during the event. I also manage Alex and Rupert Martin as well, so I've got to get them prepped and prepared before each race, and so a bit of hard work over the weekend.
Because it's not just about a driver out on the circuit, is there? There's so many other team members with different duties as well.
There is. It's the matter of just delegating the right guy for the right job. And that's what we've worked on when we've done the Ferrari Challenge in Europe, coming to GT Cup, just try to work with the same guys so we've got the continuity within the team.
As you can just see down here, there's oil on the circuit, which might make it quite slippery for our drivers, and we've already had an incident with Kevin earlier on in qualifying, so just have to see how they get on.
Kevin Riley down in 7th on the grid, but pole position going to championship leader Alex Martin. Ian Loggy takes GTB pole alongside, then GTO Nigel Mustill. Will Goff, welcome to the championship, Will. He's 4th, then Ian Dockerill, Mike Donovan. Kevin Riley 7th, Peter Jennings in 8th place. 9th, Chris Randall, followed by Dan Stringfellow. GTA pole, Paul Fleury, then Chris Dockerill and Seamus Jennings. Rupert Martin 14th, followed by Darren Nelson and Sean Winder. Jeff White in the BMW, Ben Tompkins, then Chris Bentley and Matthew Chamberlain. Peter Rowbottom, Sam Mole and Ross McEwen complete the grid. From a spectator's point of view, you can't get much better than this. The full circuit here at Oulton Park, sunshine and a wonderful grid of GT Cup Championship runners coming up across the line, on board and in car with Rupert Martin. A very hot day at the office for Rupert, and look at that, the Riley from the second row of the grid challenging for the lead as they go into Old Hall Corner for the first time. On board with Rupert Martin, challenging hard. Chris Dockerill in the lime green Ferrari 430, the slightly older Ferrari, the 458. We are on board with Rupert Martin's car, and it's his son leading in yellow. What a glorious sight these cars make as they go down through Cascades for the first time. Then onto Lakeside, around the sweeping left-hander Island Bend, which is where they are now, then to the furthest reaches of this 2.69 mile circuit at Oulton Park, the Shell Oils corner. Overtaking opportunity perhaps here, and then they'll round that and go down towards turns 6, 7 and 8, the Britain's chicane, where they are now. Then the climb over the hilltop and down towards Hislop chicane and Knickerbrook, turn 12 on the exit. But at the moment it's the championship leader Alex Martin from Ian Loggy. Ian back with us, we haven't seen him since Donington Park. Cracking start, looks like the Mosler's lost a few positions, doesn't it? So Kevin Riley with a fair bit of work to do after an incident in qualifying. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Kevin about that as we stay on board with Rupert Martin, chasing hard, third in a trio of Ferraris at the moment. Dan Stringfellow goes through, he leads Class B in terms of championship points in his BMW. There in car number 20 is Seamus Jennings. So it looks like Rupert Martin's managed to pass Sean Winder. Seamus Jennings is in front. There's Kevin Riley in the Mosler. Kevin fourth in the championship and leading Class GTO at the moment, the fastest, biggest class effectively. Now Rupert Martin having a good go here at Seamus Jennings. Both drivers racing in the Ferrari 458. We've got a few 430s in the mix as well. Chris Dockerill, one of those, a slightly older car. Will Goff running well. Great to see Will joining the championship and enjoying his racing. We go back and have a quick look. Paul Fleury and 77 car Jeff Wyatt. Now Jeff, third in the championship, 177 points, leads Class A and has been very consistent. He's had 3 class wins so far, all of them at Brands, 2 fastest laps as well at Brands Hatch. And back to the Ferrari battle, and it's the LEDex car of Rupert Martin, working hard. It's so hot for these drivers this weekend. 23 cars, a very good entry for our meeting. There is Will Goff in car number 59, a good qualifying performance from Will, second in GTB, second only to Ian Loggy, and Loggy no slouch, took all 3 fastest laps, Ian Loggy, at the opening meeting of the season. There is Ian in the white black with green trim car, coming under pressure from the Riley, which is now, rather than racing in the invitation class, which it did at Brands Hatch, is now fully fledged in GTO. So the Riley gunning for championship points this weekend. Climbing up the hill, trio of Porsches with Ian Dockerill at the moment at the back of that gaggle of cars, the number 11 machine. Ian, another driver we saw at Donington, had a DNF in the first race of the year. And here's the battle on for second position. Different classes represented here, and at the moment Alex Martin in GTC is away and down the road. There's his dad Rupert, incidentally running as he promised at Brands Hatch with aero on the car. Ran the earlier part of the season without the wing on the back, so this is a bit of a learning opportunity as well for Rupert Martin. This is new territory this weekend for him, and still busy challenging Seamus Jennings in the red Ferrari up ahead of him as they go down into Old Hall Corner once again. This is the view from Rupert Martin. So 2 very evenly matched cars, 2 very evenly matched drivers as well. Sean Winder down behind them, and then just behind them the Ginetta G50 of Paul Fleury running well. So good to see Paul running well. Took a class win in the 3rd race at Brands Hatch. So Paul again looking to be the class of the field. GTA extremely close in the GT Cup Championship as we stay on board with Rupert Martin, still putting pressure on Seamus Jennings at the moment. And Paul Fleury getting right in the mix, punching above his weight here, you've got to say. Sean Winder, the man coming under pressure in the number 6 Ferrari 430, slightly older of the 2 Ferraris, the 458 of course replacing the 430, and we go back on board one of the newer cars. Rupert Martin still there. Now down into Hislops, right, left, hits the apex, coming into Knickerbrook now, which is where our second commentary position is. You can just see it on the outside. Then from Knickerbrook, it's a big climb up through City Hall, up towards Druids Corner. But now look at this, the Riley's coming through. Nigel Mustill up into second place, back with Rupert Martin, still putting the pressure on. It really is a job to know where to look, because there are so many battles going on right the way down the field. 3 Ferraris and a Ginetta all in the mix. Fantastic stuff from them, but at the moment Seamus Jennings still holding on. Wider line into Lodge Corner for Rupert Martin in the LEDextra Ferrari. Down into Deer Leap, up the other side. He'll pick up the pit signals. It looks like Sean Winder's having a little bit of a look down the inside as well. Perhaps just a speculative look at this time as we go into Old Hall again. And then down the avenue, through the right-hand kink at Denton's, into Cascades again. Now, it does look as if the Riley is really starting to come on song, and the race leader, Alex Martin, being put under pressure. Now, let's put this in perspective. Martin's the championship leader, and he is in GTC, and he's been challenged by GTO car. It's not going to be the end of the world if he's passed. Certainly a challenge on as they come down from Hilltop into Hislops. No, the sports prototype car a little bit too far back on that occasion, but very much notice of intent from Nigel Mustill, who's putting the pressure on absolutely big time here in the sunshine at Oulton Park.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to Oulton Park. You haven't missed anything, because still in front is the championship leader Alex Martin, but the Riley TDC Mark 22 off Nigel Mustill, putting him under big pressure. Ian Loggy back in third place. Now the Riley comes offline, looks down the inside, and I think Martin's hit him. Alex Martin's hit him, goes wide into the corner. Wasn't room to go past there. Down into the avenue. The Riley's still behind, and Alex Martin holds on. Here's his dad, Rupert Martin, still putting pressure on Seamus Jennings. Some real superb racing right the way down the field, and he's through. Nigel Mustill through, takes the lead. So the leader of GTO becomes the leader of the race now. Alex Martin in GTC, down to second overall. Still got those championship points in mind, of course, for class. And it's going to be a maximum score in class if he can keep the car running to the end. But to my money, it looks like Ian Loggy, who's the leader in GTB, is closing up in his Porsche 997 GT3. And that, off goes Seamus Jennings. Seamus Jennings goes off, and there's proof of it. Rupert Martin was back in front. Sean Winder goes past. So Rupert Martin, I suspect, may well have lost just a little bit of momentum there. This is the replay. He went through, no, he didn't lose momentum. He went through on the inside. Seamus Jennings, there is Seamus running. So the two were having a hearty old battle. Goes off at Island Corner. Seamus Jennings sadly into retirement. That might have phased Rupert a little bit, which is why perhaps we saw Sean Winder go through. Now Ian Loggy once again setting the pace. Whenever you put him in a car in the GT Cup, he seems to be a top gun. He's had fastest lap. I'm trying to work out whether anybody else has had fastest lap in every race they've done. Admittedly, this is only Ian's fourth race in the championship this year, but he's got fastest lap again in Class B, so significant time for him. As we look at Paul Fleury, still running well. Then 77 Jeff Wyatt in the BMW M3, and Dan Stringfellow off. The championship leader of Class B goes off into the gravel. I think he's kept the car running, so the BMW M3 GTR will get back onto circuit. He runs in GTB. Jeff White, of course, running in GTA, so probably easy to make comparisons between the BMWs, but Sean Winder goes through, followed by Rupert Martin. So Rupert, having spent the first half of the race looking at the back end of a red Ferrari, has now got to do it all again. And he did manage to effect the pass on Seamus. So the white and green Porsche of Ian Dockerill at the moment leading Mike Donovan in 46, who's running second in GTB. Ian Dockerill running in GTO and second in class at the moment. And as you can see, the race leaders very much together now, all three cars together and getting involved in traffic. Matt Chamberlain's Lotus Elise pulls over. Matt running in GTA, 8th position in class at the moment, and we'd probably expect the car to be lapped, so no disgrace at all to the Lotus, which is continuing to perform well. Remember how well we saw that car going in the wet earlier on in the season, picking up some very good class wins. And fastest lap, incidentally, in the second event. Oh, what a shame! Off is Ross McEwen, who joins the championship this weekend in his Porsche 996. Ross, the reigning Scottish Formula Ford 1600 champion. Wonderful to see him coming up and racing in GTs, but sadly his debut curtailed. As we look at Chris Dockerill having a race with Peter Jennings. Peter Jennings in the white Ferrari, but we go back to the other significant white car in the race, Nigel Mustill again. Now he's free of the traffic, getting away from Alex Martin. Ian Loggy challenging hard in the GTB class Porsche 997, still running hard. Now Nigel Mustill, the three cars you're looking at, unsurprisingly, have all got fastest lap in their respective classes. Paul Fleury, who leads GTA, has got the fastest lap in GTA in the Ginetta G50 as well. But it looks like things now relatively settled in this race. So challenge on here, 35 Chris Bentley challenging hard and trying to pass Jeff Wyatt, and he's gone through. Up ahead of them Paul Fleury, through come some of the lead cars. Chris Dockerill makes his way past the little Lotus once again. Peter Jennings in white still running well. Peter running in a good healthy position at the moment, as to is Chris Dockerill. Across the line they go. So Jennings in the 458 GTC, Chris Dockerill running in GTO. Car's getting closer and closer on circuit, so we'll see what Chris Dockerill can do. Certainly hounding him at the moment. The GTO car putting the pressure on as they come down through Cascades once again onto Lakeside. Now here's Rupert Martin about to have a go, and he's through on the inside of Sean Winder. Great move by Rupert Martin, certainly getting his value for money and giving us terrific action as well, and makes the pass. So Sean Winder pass, that's I think 9th place now for Rupert Martin, so working very hard indeed in terms of GTC, running 3rd in class. There's the 2nd place car in GTC, the white Ferrari of Peter Jennings. Peter taking a few points away from Rupert Martin, but I think 2nd place in the championship for Rupert, probably intact at the moment. Chris Dockerill still putting the pressure on, looks at the outside line as they come down to Hislops. Too far back to do anything on this occasion, out of Knickerbrook. So through Knickerbrook now, and then the climb up Clay Hill and towards Druids Corner, and look at that, Dockerill all over the back, and in fact to the outside line, still challenging hard, but can't go through Druids Corner, under the Paul Warwick Bridge and up towards Lodge Corner, the last corner on the track. And at the moment Peter Jennings still holding on to it, just looking in the distance to see whether we can see the likes of Will Goff and Peter Jennings up front. No, we can't. So Dockerill looks to the inside line and goes through. Good manoeuvre down into Old Hall Corner. The GTO car passes the GTC. So Paul Fleury still in the mix. And 77 Jeff Wyatt running strongly in GTA. Paul Fleury still out front. And Chris Bentley in the Porsche, so looking at 1st, 2nd and 3rd at the moment in GTA. Oh, and off! After all the hard work, Chris Dockerill has an off. He's going to rejoin, and that was a very quick recovery from Chris Dockerill. I think he's maybe lost 2 or 3 places, and look how far the other cars are up the road. So Dockerill now, that's effectively going to be his battling over, I think, for the rest of the race. There is Ian Dockerill running at the moment in 4th, and he's caught Ian Loggy. So GTO Porsche catching GTB Porsche in the closing stages of the race. Ian Dockerill running well. Interesting to see how the cars Some cars seem to come on top later in the race. It's very hot and sticky out there. Oh, now has Dockerill got a problem? Well, he's lost a little bit of time there. And you can see how far he's dropped back on Ian Loggy. It's still Nigel Mustill out front in the Riley. Alex Martin in second place, the yellow Ferrari, followed by Ian Loggy. There's Ian in car number 24, who is going to bag another fastest lap. I can't see anyone beating that, so it's going to be 4 out of 4 for him. So up the hill they come. Sean Winder now still chasing Rupert Martin, and into Shell Oil's corner they go, and coming out of there. So Rupert being put under pressure by the GTO specification 430 down into Britain's. There you go. But out front, Nigel Mustill is about to lap Chris Bentley in the Porsche. So comes out of Lodge corner through Dearly. Blue flags being waved and up across the line to take the win. Nigel Mustill takes another win. This time it's championship points because he's fully fledged in GTO. So an overall win for Nigel Mustill, gets fastest lap 2, GTC win and second place to Alex Martin, followed by GTB winner Ian Loggy. Ian Dockerill is 4th, he is 2nd in GTO. Mike Donovan 2nd in GTB, takes 5th ahead of Peter Jennings. Will Goff 7th and Chris Dockerill in 8th. The GTA win going to Paul Fleury in the Ginetta in 11th place.
Paul, congratulations, winner of the GTA class. Just what was it like out there? Track temperatures were soaring, weren't they?
It was incredibly hot inside in the cab, but I had a pretty lonely race. Once I got away from the start, I had a bit of a battle with some people in the class in front, but apart from that, I always knew I was in front of who I needed to be in front of, so near the end it was really hot, the tyres were going off, so I just didn't want to damage the car, so yeah, it was quite an easy race.
Nigel, congratulations, great start. A little battle there with Alex, but you managed to tip him in the end.
Yeah, I'm always a bit slow to get the tyres warm, but we got a bit of heat into them. Obviously the track's hotter, so that helped, and just reeled them in slowly, and yeah, just managed to slide by, and they're very clean drivers, so it was no contact. It was great.
Alex, congratulations, great race for you. Couldn't quite catch the Riley there in the end though, could you?
No, and it's an awesome machine, and yeah, I'll do better next time.
And what's the Ferrari like at Oulton Park? It's quite a difficult circuit, isn't it, if you haven't been here before?
Well, I haven't been here for 2 years, but before that I've done a fair few laps, put it that way. But yeah, we made some setup changes. We didn't quite get it right, but I think that's the risk you take when you don't do practice.
Ian, winner of your class under very difficult conditions, it seems, but you tried to catch them in the end, but you just couldn't quite get there throughout that traffic, could you?
Yeah, no, it was very difficult. The other two cars have got a bit more horses than me, so they were really fast in the straight line. So I thought I was going to catch them in the traffic, and a couple of times got close to Alex, but never quite managed it. But who knows what can happen in the next race. It's very, very hot out there. By the time you get in 15-20 minutes, you start seeing other people make some mistakes. Not to say I didn't make them, I made a few.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keane in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
Chris, not the best of starts for this weekend. Everything seemed to happen out there, and it wasn't really good things, were they?
No, frustrating. I tried to get past the Mosler coming out of the first corner. I don't think it'd seen me, to be honest. We had a bit of a coming together, and then I went in the wall. I tried to come back again. I got almost back to the pit lane, and the car seemed to be going okay, and then it just snapped sideways on me. So I pitted. I'm not sure whether we've broken something or whether there's another mechanical issue with the car. I'm not sure, but we're just working on it now.
Kevin, let's start with qualifying. I know you had a few cosmetic problems. Just tell us a bit about that.
I was hoping and expecting to be on the first row or the second row of the grid. Fred rang me. He said, "Kevin, hurry up, you're fifth." I thought, oh no. So I thought, okay, I'll just try a bit harder. Well, I'd seen oil flags at Island, which is a quick corner, on a previous lap, but they'd been taken down. I thought, oh, false alarm. So this is a quick one. So I barreled into Island, fifth gear, really quick corner, and saw the oil. Slid off, across the grass, went farming for a bit, then hit the barrier. Not terribly hard, but the car ended up on its side with me in the air, not on the ground side. Impossible to get out, hanging from the straps. And then I thought, well, the oil and the fuel at this level might go in the wrong direction, so this could be dangerous. Switched all the electrics off, hope for the best. And then the marshals arrived. "Are you okay, Kevin?" "Yeah, fine. Put me down. "Oh, you might be hurt." "No, I'm not hurt. Put me down." Anyway, put me down eventually and went to the medical thingy and checked me over like they do. But I'm perfect. As you may have noticed.
You are perfect. You are perfect.
A perfect character is Kevin Riley. We've got another Riley on pole, Nigel Mustill. Alongside him is Ian Dockerill. Then it's Chris Dockerill, P3. Ian Loggy in fourth. Fifth on the grid goes to Will Goff with Alex Martin alongside. And row 4, Mike Donovan and Kevin Riley. Row 5, Peter Jennings and Dan Stringfellow. They're followed by Sean Winder and Rupert Martin about to re-engage in battle. Then it's Paul Fleury and Darren Nelson. Seamus Jennings in 15th. Jeff Wyatt alongside in the BMW. Then Ben Tompkins and Chris Bentley. Richard Chamberlain and Peter Rowbottom 19th and 20th. The grid completed by Chris Mole and Chris Randall. Very sadly, the Porsche of Ross McEwen not taking to the track in race 2. Perfect conditions and a wonderful set of racing cars here in the GT Cup Championship at Oulton Park on the full international circuit, and Nigel Mustill and Ian Dockerill leading the cars very well for their rolling start. Look at this wonderful sight that we've got here at Oulton. Now let's see whether the tyres are going to light up for the Riley. Looks like he's made a great start. Down to Old Hall Corner for the first time. I've seen many a race with cars going off here at Oulton Park, not in the GT Cup Championship, I hasten to add, and they've all made it around safely. Wonderful start, great driving standards, and it's the Riley who leads from Ian Dockerill in the Porsche, Ferrari of Alex Martin, Porsche of Ian Loggy, Ferrari of Chris Dockerill. Seamus Jennings there just ahead at the moment of Dan Stringfellow. At the back of the field, the Ferrari Spider at the moment of Peter Rowbottom. Wonderful to see him get a race finish in the first race of the day. Clearly the dry condition suiting driver and car extremely well here at Oulton Park, which you can see from the flash of the lake in the background there. A wonderfully picturesque venue. If you've not been before, I heartily recommend a day out at Oulton to watch some motor racing. Jeff Wyatt busy there trying to pass Chris Bentley, and he's done it. Up ahead of him is the red, white and blue Chevron GR8 of Darren Nelson, another of the marques represented here in GT Cup Championship Chevron. But the way the classes are sorted out, the regulations really do promote close racing between all 4 classes that we've got. You tend not to get the cliques of, we did in race 1, had a group of Ferraris racing together, a couple of Porsches, but it's very much mixed up, as you can see, as Alex Martin's got into second place now ahead of Ian Dockerill under the Paul Warwick Bridge from Druids heading up towards Lodge Corner. So Alex Martin there, Chris Dockerill with Ian Loggy. Chris running well, excellent qualifying session for him, planting the Ferrari on the second row of the grid. Motor of Kevin Riley goes through, starting to make a little bit of progress through the field. Rupert Martin has got ahead of Sean Winder off the start. Remember, they started side by side on the grid. At the moment, not perhaps involved in as close a battle as they had in race number 1, but no doubt the pairing enjoying their track time here. So Loggy, Dockerill, BM goes through. The Ginetta just ahead at the moment of Rupert Martin. Through field coming through. The Porsche Cayman there of Sam Mole shares with his dad Colin, the pair making their seasonal debut, and in fact debut for the car at Brands Hatch. Virtually standard Porsche Cayman, having all sorts of problems trying to get parts for it, but very much development in progress for them, and they're enjoying their racing. And so too, I think, is Nigel Mustill in this Riley prototype. It's effectively a track day car that delivers the business on track and off track, of course, because it attracts an awful lot of attention. Ian Loggy then being chased by Chris Dockerill as they come through his lops out of Knickerbrook. Up the hill they go again. Early stages of this race, so the positions sort themselves out, and then we'll start to see who's got the better driver endurance, perhaps using their tyres a little bit better towards the end of the 25-minute race. But the Loxton Group driver Ian Loggy in 5th place. Now at the moment, the Riley starting to pull away. The gap in race number 1 was 2.2 seconds at the flag, ahead of Alex Martin. I wonder if he's going to be able to improve on that this time. Lap time's comparable at the moment with what we saw in race number 1. Now around this circuit we've got yellow flags there at Oulton. I can't see a car off. We have lost a couple of runners in this race. Ben Tompkins in the Ginetta and Chris Randall in the Lotus Elise, very sadly, in the early stages, both out of the race, and let's hope that they're okay. As Chris Dockerill now, very clear battle on for 4th position, 1st, 2nd and 3rd, away down the road at the moment as they were in race number 1. Dockerill putting the pressure on Ian Loggy as they come around Ireland and up towards Shell Oils. 59 is Will Goff. There's the GTA Chevron of Darren Nelson still running well. Loggy and Dockerill still at it into the Britain's chicane. Loggy might be a little bit disappointed with his performance in this one. He was a tad closer to the top 3 in the first race of the day. The 3 drivers all still together as they come down into his lops. And I think there might have been a tap on the back of Ian Loggy's car by Chris Dockerill, and Loggy takes a spin. Now, can he get the car going quickly, because he's losing places hand over fist at the moment. There's the Porsche Cayman engaged in battle with the Ferrari Spider. So Peter Rowbottom chasing Sam Mole, who's come over from the Isle of Man to race this weekend. And Chris Dockerill is now, oh bash, in the side. Kevin Riley in the Mosler takes no prisoners and goes through. So Chris Dockerill, who was running well, started on the top 2 rows. Back we go with Ian Loggy, who's got the Loxton Group Porsche restarted and rejoins the race, and now has got to do something of a charge through the field to get back towards the podium position that he had in race number 1. I would say, given it's a 25-minute race, that he's not going to be able to get a podium, but it's now going to be a question of how many cars can he pass. So there is Ian Loggy just ahead of Seamus Jennings. Seamus, who non-finished in race number 1, and looking to get a little bit more track time here in our second race. But at the moment, 1st, 2nd and 3rd very close indeed. GTO car of Nigel Mustill leads GTC machine of Alex Martin, and Martin really got that GTC car hooked up, doing absolute wonders with it and challenging for the lead, as you can see, as they come out of Britain's over hilltop. Now, are we going to see a manoeuvre here from Alex Martin as they come down the hill? The answer is no, because the Riley starts to pull away. What we are seeing is the GTO car in 3rd place of Ian Dockerill, the 45-year-old racer, starting to put pressure on his younger competitor in the Ferrari. So running well. Ian Loggy about to try and challenge Sean Winder in the number 6 Ferrari coming down into Britain's. Loggy racing hard, got back up to speed very quickly, the gritty Scot up over hilltop. Now what's he going to do here? Comes offline, looks down the inside of Sean Winder. Is he near enough? I don't think he's far enough up to go through. Sean's seen him. Well, he didn't leave the door open, so to speak, but he left through him. I think that was a very good piece of driving from Sean. He's running in GTO. and I think he realised that that faster car was coming through, and nothing ends in tears there, and Ian Loggy makes up a position and through into second. Goes Ian Dockerill into second, but fighting back is Alex Martin on the cutback. Martin's gone back through. The Ferrari still side by side, outside line, and he's reclaimed second. Wonderful racing from the Ferrari of the championship leader. Alex Martin goes back in front, but Ian Dockerill is with him as well. You don't normally see in GT racing in the UK this close action, but GT Cup does give us it. The way the classes are worked out, the way the drivers prepare their cars. 4 classes of racing, and very, very close racing indeed. Now this is Rupert Martin being put under pressure by Ian Loggy. Loggy, remember, 100% fastest laps in all 4 races so far this year, and with a little bit of red mist, I think, from that incident earlier on, he'll be chasing that again. Back we go to the scrap for second place, and it's still Alex Martin. Now with these two battling hard, you can see that the white Riley of Nigel Mustill starting to get away. The Wiltshire driver enjoying the second and third place cars, potentially slowing each other up just a little bit here. So edging towards the halfway stage of the race as Ian Loggy forces his way past Rupert Martin. Loggy's taking no prisoners at all here at Oulton Park. Clears another car. He's got more work to do before he happens across any more machines here at Oulton. But Loggy on his recovery drive, racing superbly, as is this battle for second place. Alex Martin still in second, just ahead of the third place car of Ian Dockerill, who's running second, remember, in GTO. Wonderful action here as the sun shines at Oulton Park. Join us after the break for the conclusion of this wonderful racing.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to Oulton Park, race 11, the 4th event of the 2013 GT Cup Championship. And you're looking at the battle for second position. Championship leader Alex Martin holding sway over Ian Dockerill. We saw Ian briefly take second position just before our break. Here's the battle for GTA honours. It's the Chevron of Darren Nelson. Chevron very much a name that will do a job for you in this championship, and Darren running well, but Jeff Wyatt looking to go through on the inside, and I think Darren saw him at last knockings there and left the door open. This is Chris Dockerill and Mike Donovan engaged in battle, this for 8th place, and Dockerill at the moment holding sway. Chris running in GTO, Mike Donovan running in GTB spec. Down the hill they come. Donovan looks to the inside line as they come to his lops, but Dockerill's going to hang on. Let's hope that he doesn't have any more dramas as he did in the early part of the race, and that he can get the car to the finish. Certainly a terrific qualifying performance from young Chris, putting the car on the second row of the grid. And now a challenge on for second place. Ian Dockerill round the outside line. Is he going to be able to hang on to this? That is a brave move. You very rarely see cars passing on the outside as they go into Old Hall, but we did there. A new second place driver. Back we go to the scrapping pair. Chris Dockerill now still ahead of Mike Donovan, so Chris hanging on to it in the number 10 car. Climbing out of Dearly, past the pit signals here at Oulton Park. Soaring temperatures, lap times slightly quicker than they were in race number 1. Nigel Mustill's best lap time, a 1:42.3, a shade under 100 mile an hour average here. Incredible lap times that you get when you consider how slowly the cars have to go. They get slowed down 3 times effectively. 2 chicanes and the Shell Oils hairpin at the end of this part of the track. Mike Donovan still putting pressure on Chris Dockerill, who's got the inside line as they go through Shell Oils. As they go through Island Bend and up to Shell Oils. So Mike Donovan pulls off the place, gets ahead of Chris Dockerill. That one, is that going to be settled for now? Chris using the curbs on the way out of the corner, and then they go down towards Britain's, the hairpin which slows them up before they climb up over the hill, and then they run down into Hislops, the second of the chicanes on this back straight part of the circuit. Wonderful viewing place here, incidentally, down at Knickerbrook. You can see the cars climbing up Clay Hill. You can see them coming down into Cascades as well, the other side of the circuit from there too. And one of these tracks that you can spend a day wandering around and you don't have to stick in one place. You can really enjoy several different corners and straights at Oulton Park. So Donovan's starting to get away now from Chris Dockerill as we go back to our race leaders. And a squeal of tyres there, off goes the Ginetta. So Paul Fleury out in the Ginetta. It's not going to be another class win for him. The Porsche Cayman passed by Ian Dockerill, so Ian Dockerill still safe in second. Alex Martin in third. Is Martin going to be able to get past the Cayman before they get to Britain's? Yes, he is. Through he goes. In fact, still side by side. So young Sam Moll giving the Ferrari a little bit of a run for his money. So the Ferrari Spider is passed as well. Nigel Mustill dealing with the traffic very well indeed, or backmarker traffic. Ian Dockerill still giving chase as well, past the Lotus, and a problem there for Chris Randall, very sadly, in the Lotus Elise. Had problems earlier on in the race and has had to call it a day. Oh, Jeff Wyatt still running well, ahead of the Chevron at the moment. Now the race lead, both GTO cars really involved in the scrap, and this not only for the overall race but for GTO class as well. So it's the Riley, we heard Nigel saying that tends to come on a little bit later, but here we've seen terrific pace from Ian Dockerill. Back down to see Mike Donovan. Now Ian Loggy closing up on the car that gave him the grief, we think, earlier on in the race, Chris Dockerill. So Loggy closing up on him. That just really goes to show you, doesn't it, how much progress Loggy's made. Sure, Dockerill had his own problems as well earlier on in this one. So Ian Loggy again with fastest lap in class. Nigel Mustill unsurprisingly fastest in GTO. Alex Martin in GTC, fastest man on track. Paul Fleury is fastest once again in GTA. We'll see whether Ian Loggy can close in and make some more progress here. Mike Donovan is up ahead of these guys. Down into Old Hall they go again. Chris Dockerill certainly closing in at the moment on Mike Donovan, running in 7th. Ahead of him is Will Goff, but back to the race lead. Nigel Mustill still there. Ian Dockerill in 2nd. Alex Martin a little way back this time in 3rd, but still leading GCC as the race leaders come out of Knickerbrook again, up Clay Hill. I'm not sure whether Ian Dockerill's going to get close enough to mount a challenge for lead position, but certainly if Nigel Mustill's looking in his mirrors, he'll know that the challenge is on there. Ian Loggy getting close to the Loxton Group Porsche, right with Chris now, locks up. You can see there's no agenda there, is there? He's definitely keeping out of the back of the car, but Loggy, well, there is an agenda. He wants to get past. Here they come, down the hill. This is where we saw the problem earlier on. Ian a little bit further behind. Mike Donovan still holds on to position. Chris Dockerill probably would have seen the Porsche in his mirrors, and Loggy looks to the outside line. There isn't quite room there, but he's all over the back of Chris Dockerill at the moment. So he can't Clay Hill. Let's see whether he's going to be able to get past. So up towards Druids. Here they come, Loggy and Dockerill. Had a titanic scrap in the opening laps, which wound up with Ian going off. But it's been a great recovery drive from him into Lodge Corner. This is good news for Mike Donovan. It's taken the pressure off the GTB car of Mike Donovan. Up ahead of him, Will Goff still leads GTB. And a problem! Off goes Chris Dockerill into the pits. Dockerill going into retirement, maybe. So Ian Loggy does get past, but Nigel Mustill running supreme here at Oulton Park in the 2nd race out of 2. Ian Dockerill in 2nd. You just saw a flash of yellow with Alex Martin leading class GTC. He's in 3rd place overall, but Mustill is going to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend. Oh, Rupert Martin! Oh, that's a nasty looking spin, whacking the barrier. Let's hope that Rupert is okay. Well, one hates to see anything like that in any sort of racing, but with cars like this, it's even worse to see. So Rupert's okay. Marshall's on the scene very, very quickly to attend to driver and ultimately car. Nigel Mustill, who shared the driving with Bob Berridge at Brands Hatch, is going to take another win, and there's the checker, but the gap just 1.1 seconds down to Ian Dockerill. Alex Martin wins GTC. His dad sadly out of the race, happily though out of the car and looking okay. Nigel Mustill takes the overall win and GTO, of course, from Ian Dockerill. Alex Martin wins GTC. Kevin Riley in 4th ahead of Peter Jennings. Will Goff wins in GTB, 6th position for him, ahead of Mike Donovan and Ian Loggy in 8th. GTA goes the way of Jeff Wyatt. He came 11th, but that moves him to 2nd place now in the championship behind Alex Martin.
Jeff, a very rewarding win for you. I know there's a lot of trouble in front of you with tyres, but you managed to stay out of trouble and get through it.
Yeah, the best win ever. I mean, that was hard work. It's very, very hot today. And I could see the two cars in front of me, the Carnell car and Paul in the black Ginetta. Well, when he had an off at, I don't know where it was, but he had an off and he came back on and I thought, I could see the tyres going off. And I thought, I've just got to keep the pressure on these guys. And sure enough, I'm sure the tyres went off and handed me the win. Unbelievable race. Really good fun.
Will, that was a great race. I know you made a couple of mistakes, didn't you? But you managed to pull through it in the end.
Yeah, no, I was having a really good race. Got a nice start. Had a little bit of work to do to get round one of the Ferraris, and then once I did, then it was, we were going quite well. I made, one of the other cars knocked another car off, so I had to kind of take evasive action, which then let one of the guys behind past. And as I was pushing quite hard to gain my place back, I then made a mistake into the first corner. I locked up and then hit all the rubbish and onto the grass I went. And I think the car behind said I had all 4 wheels off the ground at one point. So I just kept my foot in and we finished up all right.
Alex, a great race for you. I know Ian Dockerill was close on your heels, really putting the pressure on as well.
Yeah, no, it's good. I love racing. I'm here to race, and it was really good to have a good battle. When my tyres started to go off, that's where the big GT cars, big RSRs like that are just phenomenal. After he got by me, I was trying to keep following through the twisty, and the car's just glued to the road, so whereas I'm sort of all sliding around, but it's good. It was really good fun.
Nigel, the Riley really didn't disappoint this weekend, and you seem to be pretty much in cruise control. I know Alex wasn't really on your case as much in the second race.
Well, I've always been a bit conscious of I struggled to get my tyres hot from the start. But I think because of the track temperature, that helped greatly today, and they didn't quite lose me on the first race. And the second race, I started in pole, so I controlled it a little bit and managed just to pull a bit of a gap. And then I had a couple of yellow flag incidents where you obviously got to slow down because they were waved yellows. And the second race, the Porsche caught me and actually got past me on the hairpin, but I nipped up the inside of him, and it made for a good race. But it wasn't easy. They were quick. The Porsche and Alex Martin in this Ferrari, they were very quick.
Alex Martin continues to lead the championship overall and, of course, the GTC standings, 271 points. Up to 2nd overall and leading GTA is Jeff Wyatt. Rupert Martin's 3rd overall and 2nd in GTC. In GTA, Jeff Wyatt leading Chris Bentley and John Clonis. In GTB, Dan Stringfellow holds sway. Alex Martin, of course, leading GTC, and the GTO class led by Kevin Riley in the Mosler.
Another round comes to a close here at sunny Oulton Park, where there's been very difficult conditions for our drivers. But join us in a few weeks' time for round 8 and 9 at Silverstone. We'll see you then.